Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, cable company told me I don't have cable. I see your malicious compliance on me, so I will do one of my own on you. Husband demands me to tell him everything that happens in my day. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Cable company told me I don't have cable. This happened around the year 2000. I had just purchased a house and met the previous owners while they were moving out. They were really nice people and we had a friendly conversation about the house. The previous owner mentioned that the cable bill was paid up until the end of the month, about 3 more weeks, and that he had already turned in his cable box, but the cable signal should still be active till the end of the month. I told him thanks and we let him finish packing up. We moved in the following week, and when I hooked the cable to my TV, I got all the basic cable channels, which was all I was planning on getting anyway. Come the end of the month, I called the cable company and asked to sign up for basic cable. The sales rep told me that there was going to be a $100 hookup fee. I told them that the previous owner had left his account active and that I was literally watching cable as we speak, so there should not need to be a hookup fee because the cable was already hooked up. They just needed to start billing me for basic cable. The rep then clicked on her keyboard and told me that her data showed that the address I was at does not have cable and that they will need to send out a crew to activate the signal. I told her that I was not paying $100 for a hookup fee and said never mind, I don't want cable. I waited another month, still had cable, and called the cable company back to ask what it would cost to get basic cable. A different operator from before said it would cost something like $30 a month and a $100 hookup fee. I asked why the $100 hookup fee? She said that it was because my address does not currently have cable. I told her never mind, I don't want cable unless they waive the hookup fee. She said she was not authorized to waive the fee. I just thanked her and hung up. For years later, we still had cable, but we ended up moving out of state for work. Slight variation on the theme here. Back in 2000-ish I had cable in an apartment. The company made us sign an ironclad agreement that included a specific admonition that I could never remove the cable box from the property under penalty of law. When I moved out, I set up one of those infamous appointments where the cable guy will be here to take poses down of the cable box between 8 a.m. and noon, and I have to stay on the premises in case he shows up. Of course he didn't show. Although it was a huge problem for me, I hung around until 5 p.m. in case he showed up, despite having to, move everything I own to a new place. Next day I called them and complained. They said, "Oh, that's all right, you can just bring it in and drop it off." Nope. Cue the malicious compliance, or is it non-compliance in this case? I told them I am legally forbidden to remove the box from the apartment. Later, they had someone call me back and insist that I bring the box in. Nope, no can do. They said I would get in trouble. Sorry, I'll also get in trouble if I remove the box. No you won't, they claimed, the lawyers don't really mean that. Oh, are you a lawyer? No, not actually. Okay, I won't take your legal advice then. I'll abide by the signed agreement. By the way, I give up the key and am gone Sunday afternoon, so your guy better be here before then. He can't, they said, the schedule is too busy. Oh well, I replied. Sunday afternoon a cable rep showed up at the last minute and he was mightily pissed off. We wanted cable and Dad didn't want to pay the hookup fee either. So he opened up the green box on our property and just screwed the little cable with our house number onto one of the cable connections. Turns out that is all that was needed for there to be cable at the house. So he hooked up every house in the entire box. Free cable TV for everyone. Nobody ever complained and we lived there with free TV for about 10 years. Now when they unhook your cable they squish the connector with pliers so you can't just hook it up yourself. I had something similar happen when my wife and I moved into an apartment decades ago, except I never wanted cable. At some point, I plugged the TV into the cable to see if it'd give us better reception, only to find out that we had full access to cable. Now, in general I didn't want cable, but there were a few shows I didn't mind watching, so I did. I also notified them about it, and they said I didn't have cable, so I wiped my hands of it. I think about 6 years later, we were still at that same apartment. They aggressively tried selling us cable, and I mentioned not only did I not really want cable, but we were still getting cable despite asking them to deactivate it. They finally deactivated it after that, and yes, the cable did still act like a decent antenna. Cable guy here. The neighbors probably put their address in as slightly different. S6 estate compared to 6 estates. The way our billing systems worked was each address had a different house key for assigning account numbers. Since the correct address wasn't built into the system as far as the people on the phone were concerned, it hadn't had service yet. My aunt had free HBO for years for some reason. Not complaining, back in the day she'd tape any movie I wanted to see and bring it over for me. She's a great lady. Sweet. I don't mind paying for cable, but the companies want to milk every penny out of you with deceptive practices like charging you for a whole month of premium channels if you miss canceling by 1 second after midnight. I see your malicious compliance on me, so I will do one of my own on you. A while ago, I was in charge of training for a large organization. I mostly did the organizing. For a fictitious example, I might coordinate the dean of medicine at Yale to come in and give a speech to 200 employees. Our usual location was a large auditorium/classroom, complete with podium and computer. The aforementioned dean might show up with a PowerPoint that he needed to run, etc., so I had my 2 admin assistants show up at 7:45 a.m. each morning to make sure whatever the room was running for whatever speaker/lecturer was there, as the usual start time was 0800. Sometimes, as was bound to happen, computer issues arose. Not too often, maybe once or twice a month, tops. Maybe the dean couldn't pull up his PowerPoint. So, we'd call our IT guy, Gary, who was 2 offices away, and he'd come and fix the problem. Everyone was happy. Until Gary retired. His new replacement, Todd, didn't like the arrangement. Though his start time was 0800, he'd often drift in at 0810 or 0815. This is not good when we're having a computer crisis at 0802. Further, he hated walking into the office and immediately having a call waiting for him. He wanted to have his coffee, read his email, and ease his way into the workday. Can't blame him there. So, Todd decided that he would no longer attend our computer calls. He told me to have my admin assistants troubleshoot the problems, since they were there, anyways. He was pretty hardcore about this, until I pulled out the job description of my assistants, and nowhere did it say that computer repair fell under their workload. I then showed him his job description, where it said that computer repair was. Enter malicious compliance on Todd's part. You want me to attend? Okay. Then we do it by the books. No more calling me directly. You need to call the central helpline and have them open a user ticket. Then I'll attend. I pointed out the foolishness of this. It's 0754, I have the Yale Dean of Medicine and he can't work his PowerPoint. I need it fixed now. I can't spend 15 minutes waiting on hold for the next available help desk agent, then 15 minutes explaining the problem to them, then have them open a ticket and send it to Todd, then another 20 minutes before Todd opens/responds to the ticket. We can't have 200 people sitting for 45 minutes waiting on Todd. Too bad, he said with a smirk. Those are the rules. Or, you could just have you admin ladies fix the problem. I tried one last-ditch effort to reason. When the CEO is going to give a speech and the computer shorts out, he doesn't have to wait 45 minutes. So, obviously, you can make exceptions. Common sense says this should be one too. Nope. Todd said. The CEO's staff do what's called a preemptive ticket. They submit it ahead of time and have me there on standby in case things do go wrong. So, yes, even he has to do the ticket process. Okay, Todd, I see your malicious compliance, and raise you one of my own. The next morning, I sat with coffee in hand and waited, smiling in anticipation. Sure enough, my door burst open with a furious Todd. "What is this?" he snarled, waving a printout. I had submitted preemptive tickets for every day for the next 3 months, requiring Todd to be at my training room at 7:45 every day just in case there was a computer emergency. Even better, I had contacted his boss and received authorization to change Todd's work schedule due to operational requirements, so he would now be required to work 7 to 3 instead of 8 to 4. Or, you could just pick up the phone when I call and come over. We agreed that the ticket process would not be necessary, and he would show up as needed. Those who live by the ticket shall die by the ticket. Well done. Tells you to use the ticketing system. Also tells you how to use ticketing system to combat his requested using ticketing system. Don't you just love it when the boss reveals their glaring weak spot? As someone in IT, tickets are how we justify our job for a lot of bosses looking for ways to cut employees. Crappy IT does what he did. A good IT will ask that you submit a ticket while they are on the way and are actively troubleshooting. That way they don't have to waste time that can be spent resolving issues by submitting it themselves, and since you can't work until it is fixed, you lose no man-hours getting the ticket in while they are traveling and repairing. Husband demands me to tell him everything that happens in my day. So my husband learned not to demand anything from me. Sometimes he forgets. I used to tell him a lot about what happened in my day, but when he started causing drama over most of the things, I stopped. We had a huge argument and he demanded that I have to tell everything that happens in my day. I suddenly agreed. He honestly should have thought that was too easy. He knows how I am. I told him everything from waking up to walking to the bathroom, breathing, doing number 1 and 2. Washing hands, drying hands, etc. You get the point. I will give him credit, he lasted 3 days, then begged me to stop. He apologized a lot and begged for forgiveness when I continued to do it. We had a long talk and now he doesn't cause drama when we talk about our day. He does try to better himself like I do. My daughter, 19 now, once when she was 11 or so, treated me to a 3-hour recitation of the Warrior book series, clans, relationships, plots, etc. I was a totally captive audience. We were in the car on the way to an out-of-town hockey tournament, LOL. Now she's a criminal justice major who was thinking about law school. That book series hooked me as a kid. Secret children, naughty cats frolicking across clans, so many secrets that get uncovered with each book, the drama. Could never imagine so much from a bunch of cats or how scrumptious the authors describe cats eating fresh kill. That book series was something else. It really sent me how you told him not only about washing your hands but about drying them. My husband needs to tell me play by play, word for word his day at work. I don't understand why he needs to relive his workday again. And gets if don't hang on every word. Not my monkeys, not my circus. I am not in management anymore and don't care to ever be again. As a dude with ADHD, if I don't take my meds I'll give a play-by-play coupled with a few unrelated tangents. It's basically because as I'm talking I'm recounting the details, so it's kinda just like a word vomit as I also remember what happened. I'll do it with every story I recount. It's a burden and I always have to be mindful of it and try to be succinct, especially when I can tell the person is losing interest. My 19-year-old son decided to use a 6-hour car ride to confess everything that he did while growing up. A parent needs some degree of ignorance, TMI. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.